Last week, we exposed Apple's secret plan to blow up the smart TV market with the 2026 Apple TV and the all-new Home OS. But that was just a headline. What we didn't talk about is what's happening right now inside Apple Park, behind doors most employees will never see, because there's a feature so radical, so disruptive, that Apple's legal team is reportedly hunting down and shutting up anyone who leaks it. This goes way beyond entertainment, beyond smart homes. This is Apple quietly turning your living room into a medical-grade health monitoring center. And the implications for privacy, healthcare, insurance, and the entire tech industry are insane. If you thought the last video on Apple TV 2026 shocked, you stay with me. What you're about to hear will change how you think about Apple, your data, and the future of your home forever. This is the feature that finally makes the A19 chip make sense. Let's talk about Project Vitality. That's the leaked internal coding name coming from multiple sources inside Apple's health division. For years, Apple has had one obsession: turning consumer gadgets into medical devices. The Apple Watch tracks your heart rate. It detects falls. It runs ECGs. It has literally saved lives. But the watch has always had one fundamental limitation. You have to be wearing it. Project Vitality eliminates that limitation completely. The 2026 Apple TV is rumored to ship with millimeter wave radar sensors. These are the same types of sensors used in advanced military systems, autonomous vehicles, and high-end industrial equipment. Apple wants to repurpose them for health. Here's how it works. You're sitting on your couch, watching a movie. You're not wearing an Apple Watch. Your phone is across the room. You're doing nothing but watching Netflix. Except you're not. Because in the background, Apple TV with Project Vitality is quietly tracking your breathing patterns, your heart rate, and heart rate variability, micro changes in blood flow and movement. No cameras, no wristbands, no contact at all. Just radar pulses gently bouncing off your body, coming back with biometric data that can be interpreted in real time by the A19 chip and on device AI models. Why does this matter? Because it turns passive entertainment into active health surveillance. Imagine this. You're halfway through a movie and your Apple TV detects a dangerous heart rhythm. A notification pops up. Possible arrhythmia detected. Consider seeking medical attention. Or it notices breathing irregularities that match early markers of a stroke. Or it sees persistent patterns over weeks that indicate chronic stress, poor sleep, or potential cardiovascular issues, and proactively nudges you to get checked. This is not science fiction. Millimeter wave health sensing is already being tested in labs and startups globally. The pieces exist today. Apple is just waiting for regulatory clearance and the right product. Moment to flip the switch, but here's where it gets dark. Same radar sensors that can save your life can also map your life. These sensors don't just measure vitals. They can detect exactly how many people are in the room, distinguish individuals based on unique biometric signatures. Infer when you're home, when you're asleep, when you're stressed, when you're active. Build a behavioral profile of your daily routine. Apple will say the same things they always say. Encrypted on device. Private by design. Your data never leaves your home without your permission. We've all heard this story before from big tech. The real question isn't, does the technology work? The real question is, do you trust Apple with continuous 24/7 biometric surveillance of your body and your behavior in your own home? And that brings us to the part almost nobody is talking about. Insurance companies. Right now, health insurers are desperate for real-time data. They want to know how active you really are, how stressed you are, how well you sleep, whether your lifestyle is likely to generate claims. Apple TV with Project Vitality and Home OS gives them exactly what they've been dreaming about. A health tracking system that lives where you live, not just on your wrist. Rumors unconfirmed, but persistents say Apple is already having quiet talks with major health insurance providers. The pitch? Share your HomeOS health data, and we'll give you lower premiums. Let Apple TV monitor your vitals nonstop, and you save money every month. On the surface, that sounds like a win. Cheaper insurance for staying healthy. Discounts for living responsibly. But what happens when you have a bad month? What happens when your Apple TV logs? Fewer workouts, higher resting heart rate, chronic stress biomarkers, irregular sleep patterns. Do those discounts suddenly vanish? Do your premiums go up because your living room radar decided you're now a higher risk customer? This is the dystopian future hiding inside the glossy marketing about wellness and personalization. And we're still not done, because while Apple is coming for healthcare, they're also quietly aiming at the gaming industry's throat. Let's talk about zero latency hybrid cloud gaming. We mentioned Apple TV gaming before, but we didn't go deep. The A19 chip inside the 2026 Apple TV isn't just some beefed up streaming processor. It's powerful enough to behave like a local game server. Here's the strategy. Apple is building a hybrid gaming system, part local gaming. Games run directly on the Apple TV, delivering console-class graphics, think PlayStation 5 level performance for optimized titles. Part cloud gaming. When a game needs more horsepower, the Apple TV offloads extra processing to Apple's cloud servers without noticeable lag. They're planning to use the same ultra-low latency technologies that make FaceTime feel instantaneous, but applied to interactive gameplay. The result? Cloud gaming quality without the usual cloud gaming lag. Local responsive feel without being limited by local hardware. Dynamic performance that scales up and down seamlessly. Game by game, scene by scene. This alone is a direct attack on Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo. But Apple's real nuclear weapon is cross-device continuity inside the Apple ecosystem. Picture this. You're playing a game on your Apple TV in the living room. You hit pause. You pick up your iPhone. The game is instantly there. Same point. Same session now, optimized for touch or controller on mobile. You get on the train. You keep playing. Walk back into your home. HomeOS detects you, knows which game you're in, and automatically hands the session back to the Apple TV with zero friction. No loading. No manual saves. No thinking. You're not switching devices. You're just playing. And the Apple ecosystem rearranges itself around you. This is ambient computing applied to gaming hardware, disappearing into the background while the experience stays continuous and alive. It's brilliant. Is absolutely anti-competitive. And it's coming. Now, let's talk about the coming developer rebellion. Right now, if you want to watch Netflix, Disney+, HBO Max, or any major streaming service, you open their app. They own the interface. They recommend the shows. Their brand is everywhere. They control the user relationship. HomeOS threatens all of this. With the rumored universal content feed, your Apple TV home screen doesn't care which app something comes from. Netflix becomes just one of many content providers. So does Disney. So does HBO. Their shows and movies appear inside Apple's UI, using Apple's design language, sorted by Apple's algorithms, Surface and Apple's recommendations. Netflix doesn't get a Netflix experience. They get a tile, a logo, and a content feed. They become a commodity. That's why you're already hearing about intense, behind-the-scenes negotiations. These companies are reportedly fighting for exemptions from the universal feed, the right to preserve their own brand environments, control over their own recommendation engines. Apple, on the other hand, knows it holds nearly all the cards. If Netflix or Disney refuse to fully support HomeOS features, they risk losing visibility or even losing access to millions of high-spending Apple users who live inside the ecosystem every day. That's a massive risk. But there's an even bigger battle brewing. The revenue split. Today, if you subscribe to Netflix through the App Store, Apple takes up to 30% for the first year. That's already controversial. Under HomeOS, The rumor is that Apple wants an ongoing cut of all streaming revenue flowing through its universal interface, whether the subscription was started in the app, on the web, or anywhere else.